So in this video, I wanted to talk briefly about the pens I've been using lately. And these aren't necessarily the best pens or pens I think you should buy. They may not even be good pens, just what I've been writing with. So here goes. First up, this is the Pilot S20 Ballpoint. I use this pen a lot. I really like it. I've talked about it many times. I don't always mention that I use it with the BRFN 30M refill, which I think is a nice upgrade from the stock refill. It's a 1.0 millimeter. It's really nice and smooth. And that's the Pilot S20. Just a really nice pen, and it takes some pretty good refills in it, even though it's not really a standard size. Then this, as you could probably tell, is a Rotring 600 ballpoint in blue. I talked briefly about it coming out in green, and I have not received the red one. I may buy it, I may not, but here it is in blue. I've been using that. I don't know, Rotring 600 in blue is pretty cool. I haven't seen the red one in person yet, but I think the blue is gonna be my favorite. Next, I've been using this pen a fair bit. This is the Pilot S Gel. I did a review about it maybe a month ago, and it was fairly popular, but I also picked it up in 1.0 millimeter. So I am a big fan of 1.0 millimeter roller balls, and this is pretty good. It's fine. As I said in the review, I don't think that the Sharpie S Gel needs really to exist. It's just not really too much different than anything else. It's not even permanent from what I could tell. So why make it a Sharpie? But I've been using it and it writes nicely. It's kind of a nice broad 1.0 millimeter. But again, that's not something that there's a shortage of in the marketplace right now. But it's a pretty good pen. And I bought, like 12 of them for $6 or something like that, or whatever they cost. So I'll be using them for a while. Then I've been using this pen. This is the Pilot V-Ball Grip Bold. So also a 1.0 millimeter roller ball. It's a lot like a few other pens from Pilot. The V-Ball is just a different variation of something like the high-tech point or a few different pens. You see if you open it up, it's like that solid. It's not a refill, right? It's just like this is the body. Yeah, sorry. There's a few of these pens like this Pilot makes. It's really not really any different than the high-tech point. This cone area is similar to, I think, like the Vision or something like that. But again, this is just a big 1.0 millimeter roller ball from Pilot, which I tend to like. There's a few of them, and I know not everyone likes the Pilot, the G2 anymore. That used to be very popular. I still like the G2 1.0 millimeter, but it's a pretty cool pen. And when you look inside, you could see where the ink is. So this was a pen that I am firmly committed to writing with until there's no ink left. So it's been actually lasting a pretty long time. Rollerballs tend to go quickly, but this one's been lasting. So I don't love it. I wouldn't recommend you buying a V-Ball. I would definitely recommend the high-tech point grip. It's a better pen for me, and it uses a better refill system as opposed to this thing has essentially no refill system. But I saw these and it was weird, so I picked up a few. Pretty easy to find on like, eBay or something like that. Here is that high-tech point. Again, this is a better pen, and I really like it in the 0.7, and you could see that refill system. It uses basically a Pilot style cartridge. I mean, a Pilot cartridge, but not a Pilot fountain pen cartridge, I guess is my point. And you can pull this out, and it's basically like a refill roller ball. I have this here more for reference, but I tend to use it a fair bit. I think it's a good note taker, and I really like that. The matte blue, the cap looks really cool. This is like, to me, one of the best designed and best looking pens sold today for, in that sub $10 type market. So I haven't especially been using this one a lot this month, but I use it all the time, and it's always around, kind of like that S20. Another pen I've been using a fair bit is this, the Muji. This is just their like quick drying gel pen, but I found it in this cool green that I hadn't seen before, so I made sure to pick it up. And let's see if we can see that green. It's kind of like a I don't know, light green, maybe a mint green, a seafoam green. I don't really know the color, but it's lighter than a standard green that you would get in like a, like a standard Pilot fountain pen green, say, or a Mont Blanc green. But it's pretty cool. I've been liking this a lot. And I really like these Muji pens. They're just like very simple. They're maybe $1.49 or $1.29. And, they come apart in this fun way with that cap. And then you have basically a Pilot G2 style refill, although it might be a little bit longer. And they're nice pens. I don't know. But mainly I've been using this one for the green. If you don't have a Muji store by your house, I wouldn't go ahead and track down Muji pens. It's really just that when you walk into the store, the first thing you see is like maybe 100 different pen colors and varieties. So it's a cool thing. So when I'm around, I tend to pick them up. Onto the fountain pens. First up is this. This is a Lommy Ion in the, I believe, new for 2019. Maybe it was 2018, red. I have a few Ions. I don't love them, but I picked this one up because I found it just at a great deal on eBay. I think it was under $30, which is just for this pen with this nice aluminum body, aluminum grip, nice wide grip, full aluminum cap with the steel clip. Just a nice pen. I know some people have complained about this pen because sometimes the cap wiggles. This one doesn't wiggle. Maybe it does a little bit, but not enough to bother me. I don't love it in the red. I think it looks better in the black. But again, if I see a great eBay deal, I'll pick it up. This one uses, it's interesting, this one uses the Lamia Steel Nib, but you can see how it's kind of curved here. This nib has a different name, even though it's essentially the same nib as Lamia's normal steel nibs, which is like, I think that's called the Z52, and this is called the Z53. It's something like that. Then the steel one, then the gold one is Z55. Anyway, it uses a slightly different steel nib from Lamia. Apparently the designer, when he was designing the pen, whoever it was, insisted or requested a different nib, even though Lamia uses the same steel nib on all their pens. Pretty interesting backstory. And this is the Lommy Ion. It's a fine, which I think is good for just general use. For quick notes like this, I tend to prefer the medium, but if you're a more exacting writer or you're have to worry about, like keeping lines and lines going, I think the fine for me is a nice option. It's one of the few fines I could use as a left-handed person with no problems. A lot of times that you have to, as a lefty, go up to a medium or even a broad to get a nice smooth stroke, but the European fine that Lamia uses tends not to be a problem. So this is a cool pen. I would not pay retail for it, but there's just so many of them on eBay and other used marketplaces. You could find them for at least half retail new. So if you hunt around, you should be able to find these for in the $30 range, maybe like 35, something like that, but they're definitely out there. And then lastly, this is the Aurora Castile, or Hastil, H-A-S-T-I-L. This is I would say a classic pen, very cool. It uses this cylindrical look, which was popular in the 70s and 80s, I want to say. And it's just a really small pen, but it's just super cool. I believe a 14K nib, very distinctive looking nib. This is a broad. It's sold in a range of sizes. Has a sort of weird plastic grip, and then a brushed steel body. Aurora has a trademark or something on the steel process, but it's just brushed. It's just brushed to a very fine degree, so it's very smooth. And I'm a big fan of the Hastil. These are some pens that, new in box, and the box is very cool. I'll show it in a subsequent video if people want to see it. The box is very cool, but new in box, it can be a lot of money. This one I may have used up. Yeah, all done. I guess that's just a testament to the fact that I have been using it. And again, if people are interested, drop a comment and I'll talk more about the Hastil. Which is just a very cool pen. And I believe there's a small collector base out there. So if they're on an item on eBay or Reddit, wherever you're buying it, then prices can get high. But if it goes missed, then you could find them for very good deals. And a lot of these were made because they've been in production since I think like the 60s. So you could definitely find them out there. It's a cool nib, really fun to write with. It uses, depending on the body, there's some quirks to these pens, I will say that. It can use a Lommy cartridge, but generally it uses a Parker cartridge. And Lommy cartridges and Parker cartridges are not always perfectly interchangeable, so it's a little bit of a hairy situation. But again, it's a very quirky pen, but also a lot of fun to use. So this is the Aurora Castile. And I don't know, lately, aside from my Platinum 3776, it's been one of my favorite fountain pens. So that's it. These are the pens I've been using lately. Yeah, mostly these couple on the left. I'd say this one, then less so with these, but I did use the Castile a lot lately. So that covers it. Thanks for watching.